NHL Nightly with your host, the sports, a.k.a. Pierre Lebowski, a.k.a. Jeremiah Maxwell. And with him, as always, maybe Perlo Wisdom and Rico and Barry. What's up? How's everybody doing? We got a bunch of people in the chat, man. KQ and Tim have been hanging out in here for a while. Andrew. Early. People coming in like an hour before the stream, man. Jay, my predictions on my team. How they'll do tomorrow. He wants to know about how they'll do against the Avs. We'll see, Jay. We'll talk about that later in the show. I hope you're with us. If you're catching us later, we will definitely preview tomorrow's games. How are you, Rico? How was your day? Any news? Anything to report?
No, it was a good day, man. Just going in this game against San Jose was either going to be Leafs lay an egg and they went out last night, maybe let the hair down with Nylander, or they just come out and like Marner's like, my contract's next, so I'm going to get like 2-3 points.
I saw you had 2 goals and 2 assists.
Yeah.
Of course, my wife has to get home right at the time the show starts, so the dogs go shit fucking nuts. So I'd rather her be like an hour late, to be quite frank. Heartbreaking loss for the Kings tonight. I was watching a little bit of that game. I couldn't spend a lot of time tonight on the games because I had a guy come over. We're trying to put a sauna. I want to get a sauna, an outdoor sauna, like walk in and have a view of the mountains, have some nice heat, just to help with recovery and working out and stuff like that. So anyway, first world problems anyway, type thing.
That's cool. Is it like one of those saunas that you build, like a
like what they make them in Canada. In fact, they make them in Ontario, like the barrel saunas, like that.
Okay.
Yeah, something cool. Like that. Just something like that would be nice. Okay, so first game I previewed, I got to watch a little bit of when I saw the Kraken were losing the game. Actually, I think 2-1. They end up winning the game 5-2. The Kraken are really rolling, man. They're looking pretty good. Kings lose a heartbreaker, man. They were up 2-0. They give up 2 goals late to the Lightning, and then they lose in overtime. My opinion on Pierre-Luc Dubois has not changed. That guy is awful. Of course, he was on the ice for the game winner. Again, 3-on-3, it is what it is. I feel like you can't really say anything there. I don't know if you guys got to watch any of that game.
I kind of flipped around. I kind of flipped around to a few games there, and I know Perlo, you took the live over after the first one. It was 0-0 with the Kings in Tampa, so over 4.5. So that ended up being a good bet.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got the Panthers in regulation here, and they're flying against St. Louis, so I'm doing well. Looks like not a bad night.
Yeah, and I know I had Vancouver to win. I know I picked that one, Vancouver to beat, and they were plus money. Vancouver was plus money to beat the Islanders, and they stomped a mud hole in their ass and walked it dry 5-2, beat their ass. Let's see.
First game back on a road trip for the Islanders too, even though it was a back-to-back for Vancouver. That was a Vancouver spot there.
Pretty happy to see the Leafs put the touchdown up on the Sharks, because this is typically a game that the Leafs lose, but it just shows you that the Sharks are really bad. And,
also, Kakinen in net as well too. Like those couple of goals there in the first period. The one, I think Holmberg,
he's been awful.
Holmberg came in and one-handed it in the net, like over his glove. Like that was horrible.
Yeah, he's been awful. There's been no excuse for how badly he's been for them. I was gonna say I really like that Benoit for the Leafs. That guy is playing really good. I saw that he has got the lowest goals expected for Leafs defensemen this year, which is really a nice little get for them. How about Anaheim getting the Cutter Gauthier boost? Everybody in the hockey world except for Perlo thinks this guy is going to be a good player, by the way.
I don't think I'm not saying he's not going to be a good player, but it really is concerning.
Well, you did yesterday. You said he was going to be a fucking borderline third line guy. That was fucking direct quote.
If he stays with his skating the way it is now, yeah, he's got to improve his skating.
We'll see.
Simple as that. If he doesn't, I don't care how many goals you score in junior or whatever. You're not in. With how he's skating right now, he's not going to do very well. You know what he reminds me of is Gauthier from.
He doesn't play fucking junior, so it goes to show you how much you know about the player himself.
Well, no, in AHL or
he's a sophomore at Boston College
or whatever, Boston College. He hasn't improved his skating virtually.
I'm sure you watch a lot of Boston College games up there in Edmonton. They're the number one team in the country, by the way.
I watched him in the juniors, man. His skating has not improved.
He didn't play Canadian juniors. You're talking about the World Juniors, where he's playing against the best players in the world at his age group, at his peers, the guys he's going to play against in the NHL.
And his skating has not improved. He led the tournament
in points. So I think it's an L for you.
I don't care what his points are. You can do that in that league. His skating has not improved. And until it does, he reminds me of Gauthier.
You should just take the L and we'll wait and see what happens with him. By the way, Jackets.
He reminds me of Gauthier from the Rangers. Gauthier could have been way better, but he didn't improve his skating. And now he's with Islanders, I think. The Islanders. That's what he reminds me of right now. If he improves his skating, the guy can kick ass. He's got a great shot.
I'm behind on the chat, guys. I'm behind on the chat because I'm trying to update the score for you guys. Give me one moment there, and we'll get caught up on that. I know there's a bunch of questions that people want to start talking. I will say I did a extensive amount of research and read. I read Kevin Hayes' statement, so I would like to apologize to Kevin Hayes if we inferred anything on this chat. Did he have anything to do with this kid playing? It doesn't even sound like he didn't like John Tortorella. I think here's my theory on maybe what occurred, and I think it's that Chuck Fletcher was the GM that drafted Cutter Gauthier, and I think he had a handshake agreement with Chuck Fletcher to sign after his freshman year, and Philly couldn't do it because of cap reasons. And I think because of the general manager changeover and the time frame, it didn't allow Gauthier enough time to do whatever. And also his dad, Sean Gauthier, who played in the NHL for, I guess, like 7 or 9 years, his last team he played for was the Philadelphia Flyers, and they sent him down to the minors. I believe he was a goalie. And so that was kind of interesting. I don't think that had anything to do with it, but it's interesting. I mean, if I'm the player, I probably just get out in front of it. We'll see. But we'll see what happens. But again, I love what Kiprio said today on his show. It's his right as a player. He can do it. Any player that's drafted does not have to sign their ELC. They can, if they're a college player, they don't have to, and they're not required to. And so there you go. And we've seen Justin Schultz do it with Anaheim. Ironically, he ended up signing in Edmonton, and then we've seen Adam Fox and some other players do it in the past.
This seems like a trade that for two players that we're not going to sign long term in the cities that they were at. Drysdale probably let them know that he wasn't going to sign long term in Anaheim. Gauthier told him that.
Well, Drysdale has a 2-year, $2.2 million deal left on his.
Yeah, but he's not going to sign long term. He'll sign.
I don't think.
Sure.
I would say maybe if he's not going to sign, they didn't want him long term. Might be that
might be worse. That might be worse. Yeah. That might be the worst part. Is there's something about Drysdale that they didn't like, because they could have got Gauthier
clearly because they traded him, right?
Yeah, but but trading him is one thing. Trading him for a guy who doesn't even want to sign with the team that he's at, and you can get him for free agency for free, that's a different thing altogether. I mean,
but the Flyers had to make a move with Gauthier, or at least in their mind they had to. Anyway, okay.
Right, but Anaheim
we get caught up in the chat here.
Anaheim didn't have to make that move.
No, Anaheim didn't. There were 18 to 20 teams that were looking at getting Cutter Gauthier. That's how much interest it was garnered. And those were teams vetted by, I guess, his representation. So they were not going to go.
But Gauthier doesn't even have to sign with Anaheim if he doesn't want it.
Well, they wouldn't have traded for him, Perlo. That's been reported. So there's no absolute way that the Anaheim Ducks would have traded for him if they had not worked with his representation to say, if we trade for you, will he sign? You think these people are fucking stupid?
That's true. You got a good point there. They might have had some leverage on that side.
Hey, Crystal Craig, slapping myself for not betting Vancouver. Stayed off the cause on back-to-back. I hate leaving money on the table. Crystal, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you. I had that one. I think Perlo and Rico were both on the – you guys had draw, right? I can't remember your picks. You guys will have to write them down. I can barely remember for the Vancouver Islanders game. So real quick, I'll just go through the scores, but the banner is up to date. Everything is good. Kraken win 5-2. We talked about that. A nice comeback for the Kraken. I think they were down 2-1 at one point. They were down 1-0, but they came back and they won the game. Then it was 2-2, and they won the game 5-2. Didn't get to watch a ton of that. Lightning come back, win in the third, 3-2, or win in overtime, win 3-2. Leafs put a touchdown on the Sharks. The Sharks are going to take a decade to develop at this point. Canucks are legit. And if they get something for Kuzmenko, if they figure out, I know he's been a scratch, his numbers are not even terrible this year, which is like, okay. So like Takis is really working hard to get him to play his way. Ducks are up 5-0 against the Preds. You think that wasn't a boost for – I wonder if there's some other guys. I heard today, too, Trevor Zegras not long for the Ducks. They're looking to maybe trade him. That's a rumor you heard here that came from Frank.
I think I talked about that. I think we talked about that.
You said it a while ago, too. You said it a while ago, too. Panthers Blues 4-1. I watched Tkachuk score the third goal of this game, his 9th of the season. He's since potted another one, so he has 10 on the year. Tkachuk. And then Blue Jackets are getting destroyed by the Jets, who might be the best team in the Western Conference, and they don't have their best goal scorer. They're doing all this without their best goal scorer. Perlo, your camera's absolutely fucking horrendous, by the way, like your takes. Oilers, Blackhawks, 2-1. Big shock. I'm surprised this isn't a Leafs game. It's already second intermission, so I'm actually kind of disappointed that Draisaitl doesn't have a hat trick, only because I have him on my fantasy, but he does have his 19th goal. And then Bruins are beating the Yotes 1-0, and then the Flames and Senators are all knotted up. I do think we're going to see here real quick a bunch of moves. There was a fight in St. Louis. Yep, Tim saying this was early in the game, and don't. Where are all the Mitchie haters now? He's just passed the big. He just passed Frank Mahovlich, huh? Rick's letting us know that. Boy, I'll tell you what. For as storied a franchise as the Leafs are, they're like numbers for that team aren't that. They're not out that crazy, you know. They're just there's nobody that. How many Leafs had 50 goal seasons before? Before your main man there, Matthews. Perlo, if you know this, you can answer it too. I know you're an Ontario boy.
I don't know. I know Rick
Vive was like the only guy, right? I mean, even Sittler had the 10 points, but I don't think anybody had ever Vive and Lehman. Thank you, Tim. There you go. I knew it was like two guys. I was like, what? I was like, oh, okay. I mean, because Mike Gardner played for the Caps. He had a lot of seasons where he scored a shit ton, and then Peter Bonder was a pretty good player too. So it's like but the Caps aren't, they only been around since 1974. It's like 50 years. Actually, this will be the 50th year for the Caps, by the way.
Yeah, another thing too is, speaking of fighting, I was watching that Winnipeg Columbus game, and Neil Pionk tried to do a little hip check, but he took Fantilli's knee out, and he had to drop the gloves with somebody. Fantilli
Is Fantilli okay, or?
Yeah, he's all right, but
okay.
Yeah, he took his knee out with a bit of a hip check.
Speaking of it, I reached out to Annie O'D. I know I've talked to you guys. She's a diehard Ducks fan, and she does a lot of hockey content, and she's awesome. I tweeted out a great video that she breaks down kind of the whole thing with this whole Gauthier saga based on what everybody says in a nutshell. It doesn't to me, it feels like I think he expected to sign early and they just weren't able to do it. And maybe Chuck Fletcher had an agreement that they were going to sign him. It sounds like it wasn't a problem with Tortorella. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't have any faith in the organization. Regardless, it was the player's right not to sign with him. Once he said he wasn't going to, they were looking to move him. So kind of the end of the saga, but I like it because we get, players exercising their rights, which I'm always going to be for the workers, the people that make all this money. Connor McDavid is the most underpaid superstar in the entire sports complex. He's probably worth about $50 million a year if you put it in terms of what he does for the sport. You know what I'm saying? Matthews, Marner, Morgan Riley. Go ahead, Rico. What were you going to say?
I was shoveling the driveway today, and I was listening to Spittin' Chicklets, and Biz was like, there should be a franchise tag in hockey for what these guys are worth to their team, that you could just pay them whatever the hell you want. And it doesn't go against the cap. Every one player should have one. One guy that brings people in the building, sells the merch, like basically one guy on every team. And then you pay Matthews, whatever, $25 million a year. And it doesn't go against the cap. You're allowed to do that to one guy on every team. It's kind of pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've been an advocate for this. I love what Biz said. I did get through all of Chicklets today, which was a fucking miracle. It wasn't 5 hours today, so I was able to get through it. I have been an advocate for if you draft and or develop or unsigned like undrafted free agent, but more specifically, if you draft a player, this is my proposal to the NHL, that their salary after their entry level deal, 20% of it doesn't count against the cap. And I think this would be a good thing for teams that aren't in bigger markets and, teams that maybe where taxes are a little bit of a bigger prospect. So you could pay them a little bit more and it counts less towards the cap. But they have to be guys you draft and developed. So it encourages teams to do a good job, put into scouting, put into your AHL farm systems, your ECHL, and grow the game. And that's how this gets better for everybody, right? I mean, they're talking that the NHL is going to add 2 more teams. Within the next 10 years, we're going to see up to 34. Well, already I think the NBA only has 30, correct? So they already have more than. And does the NFL have 32 as well? Or does the NFL have 30? I'm trying to think. How many does the NFL have? Four divisions by 4. Is it 8 divisions by 4? So the NFL has 24? How many? I don't even know. How many?
32. 32 in the NFL.
Okay, so the NFL is the same as the NHL.
I think
but the NBA only has 30, correct me if I'm wrong. The NBA only has 30. Sure. There's 30 teams in the NBA, and the NFL, you said, has 32. Okay, so if the NHL has 34, they'll be the first. And now, they're going to get $1 billion probably for. Tim says, "What's up, Perlo?" And Tim, yes, it is still up. It is still up. Florida's still up 4-1. I have the scores up to date as best. I think I might have missed the. I think I might have not updated the Blue Jackets Jets. I think that game is now 5-0. So I'll change that. Let's see. All right. Well, anything else stand out in the in your day today? Any like I said, Saravelli dropped the Zegras thing today, where he thinks that could be a legit move. Which
I think Zegras is almost certainly gone from Anaheim.
Yeah,
I think so. I was saying that for a while, and I'm going to go back to it. You didn't like my take, so remember this. Gauthier needs to get better skating. Philadelphia has got some of the best skating coaches in the league, and he has not improved.
He's not going to play there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. That's more the reason why than he didn't want to go there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know the guy. I want to wait to hear from the player.
I believe that Philly didn't want him as much as more than he didn't want to play in Philly. I believe that. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see what happens in Anaheim. Anaheim is a poor organization that makes really poor moves, and I think this is not going to look good for them. I think Drysdale is going to look fantastic in Philly, and Gauthier is not going to look great in Anaheim. So you heard it. That's what I think. Just like I said, Zegras is going to get traded from Anaheim, and he did.
And tie another player to Zegras too, and get a really nice package back. Put John Gibson and Zegras in a package and send them somewhere.
I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah.
I think Zegras is making $5 million this year though, and $5 million next year, and this is like his bridge deal, which that's not a ton of money, but
Gibson either, man.
No,
Gibson's at like 6 or so for another 2 years.
Yeah, but that's $11 million you're trying to move. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, if you tie them together, what team has $11 million in cap space? If Tavares goes down on LTIR, the Leafs could do it, but then what are you going to trade for it too?
Yeah, the Leafs aren't going to go after somebody like
Arizona
that.
Just tied the game. Thanks, Tim.
Arizona tied the game. Nice.
Yeah, Clayton Keller. It's only 1-1. That game's in the second, so there's a lot of time left in that game. Just like this Flames Senators game. Thanks, Tim, for that update. Big time update.
Okay, let's go to the Leafs. You think Marner is likely to be traded from the Leafs?
No. I think they have to keep him unless he wants like 15 schmilly when he's up. By the way, they don't have to re-sign Marner for 2 years. So they could wait and ride it out until they don't have to give him an extension until after. But I don't think he'll be gone. I think they'll keep him. It's just so hard to get high-end talent like that in the NHL. And Boston just scored. So I think that might make it Boston just made it 2-1.
Good, I've got the over on.
Yeah, same here, Perlo. I got over 5.5 there.
Boquist, his first of the season. Boquist.
Yeah, it looks like Nashville's on the board too.
Yeah, but that game's all but over. 5-1. Yeah, I think I had that score up to date.
Killer.
I think I have that score up to date at the bottom.
I don't think I touched anything on that game. Not a thing. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Well, you probably would have bet. Nashville or Anaheim anyway.
Oh no, I had Anaheim to win that game.
Really, Anaheim on the road, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Nashville's in a tough spot. Saros has been played way too much, but I just didn't trust them.
No, what's his name's been playing pretty good for them. Askarov, he's been playing good for them.
Oh, did they have Askarov in tonight?
I know he's played a bunch of the starts.
No, Saros played. Saros played against Dostal.
Yep. So I don't know. I didn't know what to do with that. So I wish I would have talked to you before, Rico. I probably would have took.
We talked about it last.
Did we talk about this yesterday? Isn't this when we talk about the games?
But did you take Anaheim last night?
I bet on them today, this afternoon.
Yeah, I don't think you took them last night. I don't think we.
Could I go back and watch the replay?
It might have been a draw. We might have been.
You guys need to write down your.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought we were thinking was draw. Yeah.
Tim says the problem Marner will want over 12, and he's not built for playoff hockey. He has disappeared in the playoffs in some regard. I will say this, Tim. I do think that they could get Marner for probably the same price that they paid Willie, and probably the same deal, 11, 5, 8 years. We'll see, though. We got to see what the cap projects. But again, I mean, I don't blame these guys for getting the money they're worth. They should get the money they're worth. And the fans shouldn't hate on them. They should do it. I mean, when McDavid's up, I hope he gets whatever he can get. When Draisaitl's up, I mean, Draisaitl's going to get 13, 14. I mean, I could see him being the highest paid player until McDavid renews his deal, to be quite frank. I think Edmonton will have to pay him a lot too, right? I mean, I don't know, man. Is he going to test the open market? Is there going to be a team that can afford to give him that money, even with the cap going up? Because this is is this Draisaitl's last year this year, or is it next season?
I think it's next season, but guys like Draisaitl and Marner don't come around every day, and you can't just let them walk for nothing in free agency. If your talks aren't getting anywhere close, you can't just let him walk. You got to trade the player.
You bring
get
up
some
a good
assets
point,
back.
Rico. It appears to me that maybe Marner is not too cool with that Toronto market. Like, he just seems to.
He's from there. You don't think he does well there?
No, I don't think he's.
Well, Perlo, this is the only.
Would rather go somewhere a little less known and stuff like that.
So why didn't he sign the offer sheet that Columbus offered him then? Because he could have gone there.
Well, you could go anywhere. Why would you want to go to Columbus? You can.
Well, but they offer sheeted him. They offer sheeted him.
He doesn't have to go to Columbus.
No, but I'm saying, like, if you don't think he can handle the market there, why would? I mean,
because it's Columbus. He can go anywhere he wants, anywhere. So
well, if he becomes a UFA, yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah,
I think Marner's a big market player. I don't know if he's a playoff performer like Tim said, but
he's a smart player. Like, he doesn't get hurt too much. He's good, reliable guy, two-way forward. The only thing is, like Tim said, he's soft in the playoffs because he's easy to just board and just bully out there and stuff sometimes. But I mean, the thing is, he want to stay at least.
It just feels to me that he doesn't handle that market well. Like, he doesn't. I don't think he wants a spotlight as much as he has. I could be wrong, but we'll see. And we'll find out.
Yeah, I've not gotten that impression from. If anything, I think he handles it fine. I mean, it seems like he was built for it. Honestly, that's my impression. I think
that about Nylander. I think that about Matthews, but I don't think that's so much about Marner.
Well, Marner's the one that pretty much talks to the media the most out of the three of them.
Yeah, I completely disagree with you, Perlo, on this. Again, just because I've seen Marner out in front answering a lot of questions and shit, and they get asked the dumbest.
He's a leader. He's a leader for sure, but I just.
Brady Tkachuk put the Senators up 3-2. That's his 17th.
Beauty. I got the Sens there to win that game.
Yeah, so that's only in the second. Lots of time left in that game. So Rick says there's a lot of blowouts tonight. He doesn't like the games. Rick, the Sens Flames is a 1-goal game. The Bruins Coyotes is a 1-goal game. The Blackhawks Oilers is a 1-goal game. That's a shocker. The Kings Lightning was a 1-goal game. There's 10 games on tonight, man. There's some good games. There's some good games.
St. Louis got the net empty with like 2.5 minutes left here.
Yeah, I didn't even see.
But down 4-1.
Oh yeah, they're not winning that game. They're not winning that game. Okay, we don't have a ton of news. I was trying to. I read. So I was going to read. Friedman wrote a pretty decent article that kind of explains the Gauthier thing, but I was. I had it right here. Sorry.
You know what popped into my head today when I heard that Gauthier thing is the 2018 World Junior team and the guys that got kind of in trouble or whatever, and Carter Hart's name was kind of named in it, and I'm wondering if he didn't want to just be a part of that because he knew something was coming down the road. about that, and that kind of just popped into my mind without seeing it anywhere or reading it anywhere or anything. I don't know if
Well,
it
but
makes a lot of
Gauthier
sense.
didn't play for Canada. And
No, I know, but just being associated with the shit that's gonna hit the fan or something like that.
Or it could just be as simple as Beard has said. He just really, 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 really hates Philadelphia because he's a Pittsburgh fan. He's got that kind of hate for them.
That's what he said. So he grew up in Arizona, by the way. Matthew Tkachuk has a hat trick tonight. He got the empty net hat trick on the road in his hometown, by the way. His hometown is St. Louis. Good for Matthew.
Oh, why didn't we take Matthew Tkachuk props tonight, Perlo?
I did.
Did you?
I took Tkachuk over shots. I wish I would have
shown his mom and his sister, and yeah, dude.
His grandma's at the games all the time too, eh?
Well, this is his hometown, man. I believe his dad works for the Blues still, and they still live in St. Louis. Is his immediate family. That's going to be final. So no, I mean, look, I don't know what happened with Gauthier. I'm not going to speculate, and I already feel bad because like I brought up Kevin Hayes, and because he's friends with him a little bit, or they went to the same college, and Kevin Hayes is getting death threats on the fucking internet, and I feel like, we have a responsibility to try to report. At least I feel like I do. Like I don't mind the speculation from Perlo. He thinks he's a lousy skater. I read a lot of stuff,
cool.
that says contrary. But from real hockey.
I don't know what you read, but I watched him skate.
Well, I get it, Perlo. What you offload trucks for a living? At some point, you gotta accept your lot in life and say, "This is my opinion." Means what it means. So I get it. Let me read what Elliot wrote, and then we'll move on from this Gauthier thing, and we'll preview tomorrow's massive amount of games. The Flyers trading Gauthier to Anaheim for Jamie Drysdale was a stunner that came out of nowhere. The Flyers, who thanked teams for keeping it a secret, were furious when they got an explanation why Gauthier switched from someone being happy to be drafted to them, who wouldn't even talk to them. I also want to say this real quick on note. I do not blame Gauthier for not talking to them while he's trying to win a gold medal. They should not have gone over there to try to talk to him while he's in the midst of a tournament. No. After the tournament, they should have tried to reach out to him then. That's when they should have tried to reach out to him. So obviously they were panicking because they weren't hearing back from the player, but the player has representation too. So I just don't understand that move at all. I think the Flyers look bad there. Okay. Anyway. And let's be quite frank, the Flyers haven't won a Stanley Cup for 50 years, so we need to stop acting like they're like the creme de la creme of the NHL. They're a storied franchise, but it is what it is. Okay, so continuing on what Friedman wrote, he said, there are comparisons to Eric Lindros, but it's not the same. Lindros told Quebec not to take him. There was no such demand from Gauthier, which we don't know. I mean, like, again, he's speculating here, but whatever. I can judge only others as I judge myself on the issue, and they are right. They were owed an explanation. Anytime I've left an organization, I've let it known be exactly why. Adam Fox made sure to do so. Blake Wheeler, you mentioned Blake Wheeler. They were low picks too. I completely understand the Flyers under new management trying to change their organization and would want want clarity. If they made a mistake, they'd want to know how to fix it, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I agree with all that. I think a lot of it had to do with the changeover and the ownership dying and a lot of stuff too. So there might have been stuff that was completely out of their control. Until Gauthier reveals the reason, he may never do it. We'll have to deal with wild speculation. For example, there are already denials. The issue didn't want to play for John Tortorella, but not everyone buys it. Again, he's on that podcast saying he had some interaction with Torts and it was great. So I don't think it is. And I think if you're a smart player, you'd want to play for him. We can all agree on that. I think he's a great coach, and he's going to teach you how to play the best two-way you can that's going to be conducive to winning. The man has his name engraved on a Stanley Cup. He's done more than any of us will ever do in the game of hockey. So I don't know how you wouldn't want to play for him. But that being said, according to several sources, what happened predates May 11th, which, again, that jives with before Briere became the general manager, yada, yada, yada. Just to surmise, the Flyers were in cap trouble. And, we saw all the other situations. I will post the link to this article in the chat if you guys want to read it in its entirety. I just think Friedman, honestly, I tweeted out Annie O'D's Instagram where she kind of breaks everything down, and it's better than Friedman's article, and it's on video, and it's like 3 minutes. So I'll just say like that's probably a better example of this, but like, you know, Friedman carries a little bit of weight in the hockey media world, and I think a lot of people, you know, take for what he says, even though a lot of what he wrote is conjecture in here too, because again, we don't know the reason. The player hasn't come out and said his representation, and may never do. So, and again, it's his right. Like we should stop admonishing these players for making more money and exercising the rights they have to them, because teams will fuck over players all the time. Tim Nork says Jay Rosehill has nothing but good to say about Torts, but also said you don't want to be in this doghouse, worse than Iron Mike, apparently. Yeah, I mean, Iron Mike, in my opinion, is crazy. Like, all the stories I've heard about Keenan are that he's just kind of a nut job, and he wanted to see if you'd push back. I just think he wanted players with backbones a lot of the time. So anyway, it's probably a 5-minute read, but I didn't want to waste everybody's time. And we've said enough about Cutter Gauthier. He hasn't even played.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, dude, Beard, this is the most disgusting thing you're ever gonna fucking see.
Which game?
Draisaitl, Edmonton and Chicago. Draisaitl came over the blue line. The puck jumped in the air. He lifted his skate. It's like dissected to the fucking pin drop, man. Right before a nice goal, he set up Hyman. Oh my!
So he didn't score though, or he did? Because I'm still getting.
Yeah, they scored, but it's no goal. It should have been 3-1.
Oh, because he was offsides.
But the most ridiculous off. If
yeah,
you're not a fan of these fucking offsides, dude, this is like takes the cake here.
If Connor Bedard was playing in this game, I'd be interested in it, but I had zero interest watching this game. I didn't even put it on.
Got Hyman for 2 points too. Fuck me.
Yeah,
well, there's still a lot of time left. 16 minutes in the third.
But that would have been his first. Oh, you'll see that play after, and you'll shake your goddamn head.
Draisaitl can make some, between him and McDavid, they do some pretty ridiculous shit that I've never seen before. That's for sure. Okay. Mañana. We have a full slate of games tomorrow. 3. The TNT games in the States are Wild Stars, the old Minnesota versus Minnesota. And Golden Knights Avalanche. That's going to be a good game. Let's go back to Jay's question. Perlo, Jay has this question for you. He dropped it in at 5:15, 45 minutes before our show started. So I definitely want to answer. So Perlo, I want to hear from you on this. I'll make my predictions now on my team on how they'll do tomorrow. Tomorrow should be a tight game. This is Jay. I'll put it up on between the Avs and Knights. So I'll draw there. Thursday might be the same as well. He goes, if the Knights lose in overtime, I'll be okay because they'll earn a point. That goes the same for Thursday as well. I'll chat with you guys again next week. I won't be able to make it today. Okay, no worries. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you so much. So we'll get to that game. Actually, we'll just preview that game now. So the Golden Knights are a plus 120 road dog, and the over-under is 6.5. No reason we can't start with that game since we went through all that. What do you got, Perlo?
I got the over at 6 before it got to 6.5, and I just like the over in that game.
So you locked it in at 6?
Yeah. So,
okay.
But as far as the game is concerned, man, it could go either way, really. Like, he's right. That's a difficult one because Vegas hasn't really been playing all that well right at the moment, and yeah.
They need Theodore back big time.
Yeah, they certainly need Theodore back. I totally agree with you there for sure. They need it.
Led the NHL in block shots last year.
I think
Well,
Colorado
Vegas.
just lost big to Florida too before this game. So
Yeah. Well, they won.
and
I think they won their game in between that, though, didn't they? So they're
Oh,
not
did
just
they?
coming off. Yeah.
Oh,
Didn't
they're
they
not
play?
coming off a loss. Okay.
Yeah, I thought they
didn't
played
take
Monday.
that.
Yeah, they beat the Bruins 4-3 in a shootout at
Okay.
home. Yeah.
And
So,
Vegas just won a game too, right?
yeah, I think they put.
I like Colorado in this game. Vegas goes home to Boston the very next night, and this is the
Oh,
last
that's
game
right.
before
Yeah,
Colorado
yeah.
goes on the road on a long road trip right after this
Yeah,
game.
I agree with you. I like Colorado too, in that spot. Yeah, I like
I
Colorado.
think the boys are going out on the road after this for a long trip. They're going to want to go out on a good note and have a nice flight out east to Toronto to play their Saturday night.
Yeah,
Vegas lost to Florida on the 4th. I'm trying to find the game they played in between there. I would like to pull up their thing, but so you both are on the Colorado Avalanche and the over at 6, which you locked in at 6. Again, my line might be different.
I'll even back to 6.5. I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stay away from that one. I wouldn't mind putting money on that Vegas because they're a plus favorite, but I actually haven't liked how either team has been playing, but Colorado's been getting some points as of late, so that helps. Wild at Stars, that's the other TNT game. Wild are a road dog, man. The Wild are beat up and banged up.
Oh, God. Dallas all day long.
Okay, and the over-under in that game is 6.5 as well. So Dallas all day long. I like the Stars in that one too. I don't know if I like the over though, but I'll throw that up there, Perlo. You'll see it there. Rick says Vegas as well in the Vegas. Wild plus 164 road dogs at the Stars over under 6.5. And there's only one other game.
I'll go Dallas even
who
in
are the Wild
regulation
putting
there.
in net even?
Fleury, I think it's Fleury. They just kind of have no choice.
Fleury again?
Well, because
they played Monday. 2 days later, they're going to play Fleury again off 2 days rest.
No.
Well, and he's got a pat. They're trying to get him past Patrick Waugh. He needs one win to pass Patrick Waugh, which we didn't talk about last
Stars team total over 3.5. I don't know. Maybe Minnesota does some stuff there, but
Fleury's not making his case to get traded. That's for sure. Or nobody's going to pick him up. I think he's like 3.5 mil too. Man, that guy doesn't carry.
Well, but by the time the trade deadline, and you could get it. Well, I don't know. I actually don't know if Minnesota, off the top of my head, can eat salary, but. Yeah, no, I agree. But you may not have to give much up for him. If you're the Leafs, you want some goaltender protection. Would you sauce a 7th for Marc-Andre Fleury to be on your playoff roster? I mean,
jeez. Yeah, I mean, we gave up a 3rd for big save Dave Rittich a couple years ago that he didn't even suit up for the Leafs. I don't think.
I didn't notice this. Aiden Hill is going to be in for the Knights.
That's good news. He's back. That's good news. Well, by the way, Coach just scored. This is a good game, by the way. So I think that makes that 3-3, right? I had Blues. I'm not putting on the Edmonton game because I don't.
Yote just scored. It's 3-3. We got the over.
No. 2-2.
2-2. My bad. 2-2. Dylan Guenther, 2nd of the year.
No,
I
think I got Gunther's. I think I got Gunther's goal prop, dude.
Oh, we're gonna get the.
You have Guenther goal prop,
dude. We heard that on the Ice Guys say.
Oh, nice. I wanted to listen to him today, but was kind of wrapped up in the. Tim York has Colorado Vegas BTTS first period Dallas money line for sure. The last game, guys. And this will be a short one tonight, man. The last game is Habs plus 150 at Flyers over under 6.5. I'm surprised the Habs are that big of a dog. They've actually not played bad. They're 500. They're playing some pretty good team D and stuff.
Guenther plus 400 on the goal prop.
You had it?
Yeah.
You hit it then, buddy. That's a legit goal, though, not being reviewed. It's already play on. So I like the Habs at plus 150 in this one. Perlo, what are you thinking?
I mean, I would probably go with the Habs if I'm going to take a side here, but this feels like a draw all day and under.
Okay. I love it.
I'll take under and the draw. Like this is a big under. What's the number on the under?
6.5. I have
under.
6. I'm sorry, it's 6. I have 6. I made a mistake, guys. That's a 6. I'll update that.
I'll take the under. I don't think the Flyers are going to come out trying to barrel against Canadians here. And but I mean, if I'm going to take a side, I'm not plus 150. The way the Canadians play so gritty, it's just two gritty teams playing against.
Yeah, I like the under. I think the under is great too. I just would take the Canadians at plus 150. Flyers might be a little shell shocked with all the stuff going on, but however, Flyers might be flying, if you excuse the pun, after all this. And Drysdale's already there.
That's exactly my thought. They're going to get the Anaheim bump after this trade, and you got Caden Primo in net for Montreal. I think Philly comes out. Just Tortorella's going to have them basically focused on this game. And I'll take Philly if it's a better price. I'll take them in regulation if I have to, but if not, maybe
I've changed my mind. I'm on Philly on this one. And by the way, Matthew Tkachuk's hat trick tonight was a natural hat trick. Pretty sick.
Nice.
Natural hat trick. Good night, Tkachuk up there, right there, buddy. Number 19.
Nice, buddy.
Number 1 in your heart.
That's the old Brian Skrudland jersey from '93. The old Panthers jerseys.
I love that one. Yeah, Stu Barnes.
Yeah.
The Canadians
Scott Mellenby. Mellenby.
Hey, we keep cutting Perlo off. Perlo, what were you saying about the Habs? Okay, this is in Philly.
It's in Philly. Yeah,
I thought it was in Montreal.
No, it's in
you don't want to play here. We'll show you what Philly hockey's all about. If you don't want to play for Philly.
And then,
I definitely think Philly's going to win this game.
You keep cutting Perlo off, Beard. You keep cutting him off.
I thought it was in Montreal, and it's in Philly, so I will take Philly because Montreal has to go back and play San Jose after this, and they're going to win that game for sure. I don't even think they care about this game. So, yeah, Philly all day. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
Oh yeah, huge Philly bump. Montreal's just going to want to get the hell out of Philly and go back home and play San Jose after this.
and Philly just
wants to play San Jose. Oh, sorry, Perlo. Go ahead.
Philly just lost to Pittsburgh, so they're going to be pissed. Yeah, definitely Philly.
Yeah, did you watch any of that game? Fucking atrocious. The Flyers got 5 power plays. Or got 5 penalties in the first period. Fucking Penguins loving fucking NHL. What a fucking joke that is. When's the last time you can remember a fucking team got 5 fucking power plays in the first fucking period? Especially a fucking team as devoid of talent as that fucking team is. Yeah, they got Crosby. I mean, good God, man. That's going to be interesting, the Gensel thing. I think he stays. Well, hey, so I'm going to come up with a list of UFAs tomorrow, and we'll talk about whether they stay or go the next 2 years and what we think their deals will be. And unless we get some other news in NHL that overtakes the world like this Zegers thing. But for the next show, we'll go through that. You guys got any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. One thing I was Paul Bissonnette's just working Twitter tonight. He just said about just under an hour ago. Did you read his tweet about Ovechkin?
Yeah, he said it in the thing. He said it in the podcast too. Like if Liam O'Brien got into a fisticuff today too. I think he's one of the best informers nobody ever talks about. By the way, Liam O'Brien that plays for the. So he basically, just to summarize what he was saying is, if they had where you could give he said franchise tag, but essentially what he means is if one NHL, like if the Leafs could exempt Matthews' contract and his whatever they paid him doesn't count against the cap, He's saying like if
Mhm.
Ovechkin doesn't break the record, could he break it somewhere else and a team could just like give him a shit? Because the money that he would bring in, like the Rangers, if they needed a goal scoring winner or something, they could bring him in. You know, who knows what a team's going to look like in I think Ovechkin has 3 years left on his deal. So I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I've never been that concerned about him breaking the record. So the fact that he's second all time in goals, and in my mind, if there's no labor stoppage pandemic, he broke it a while ago. He'd be at 900. So,
yeah, good on Dylan Gauthier, man. Former 9th overall pick, doesn't want to go back to the jungle. Goals in back-to-back games. That's huge for the Oats, man.
Tim, I will try to. Is that the one though for their Patreon members? If it is, I'll have to join their Patreon, which I wouldn't mind. I did buy a couple of their merch because they support us so much. So I will try to do that. Tim's bringing up the Ice Guys backcast next Tuesday for you guys if you didn't know. So
for some reason, Patreon won't take my money. I don't know why. Every time I try to buy into those guys, they don't let me.
It's like $10 a month, I think. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know why they won't take my credit card or something.
Because they know you offload dead bodies, Perlo. Try one of your offshore accounts.
Try
one of your
You're
offshore
trying to use them fucking
accounts.
credit cards you got from China in the mail.
They've watched this and they've heard my takes, I think.
Credit card is not spelled with a K, Perlo.
It's a Russian card, I swear.
I don't know, man.
It's from
Maybe
Russia.
it's a Canada thing, bro. I don't know. That's fucking weird. I've never had a problem with Patreon. In fact, I had something charging me from Patreon that I didn't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got to try a different card or something.
Hey, anyway. I'll say this, Perlo, that I know that Patreon has an app for the iPhone. If you have a phone, download that app, and I think they have help on there so that you could message with them and they might be able to figure it out for you. So
I'm sure we'll figure it out. But
yeah.
Okay, my final thing.
Yeah.
The Flames. I think they're going to blow it all up.
They need to.
And there's rumors here now. This is something that came from, Brian LaRose.
I heard some Flames rumors from other insiders, but yeah, I love it. If you have
Jacob Markstrom is on the block.
I love it because they have that Snow kid. They need him to play. They should move him. And who would give up a king's ransom for goalies right now? The Leafs need one. The Kings need one. Yeah. Who else needs a goalie? I mean,
if you're really going to rebuild, that would be like the perfect guy to throw out there. Sure.
How about the New Jersey Devils? They need a goalie.
Gosh. Yeah, take Vanacek and a bunch of prospects and a pick back for sure. So I'll be tweeting that tomorrow. I'm going to come up with the trade tomorrow, and you guys can tell me if you like it or not.
By the way,
we'll tell you right now whether we like it or not.
No. You tweeted one tonight, and I meant to bring it up. I'm sorry we didn't talk about it. So for my final thought, I was going to bring up your tweet and everything. I'm so glad you reminded me. I don't know why. I got to be able to find you. The problem is I can never find you on. Anyway, Perlo tweeted out. Why can I find you on my? Oh, were you there? All right, this is easy. I can just go to my home real quick. Talk amongst yourselves. Anyway, I hope Annie gets back to me because you guys will love her. She is great, and I want.
York said, "Oh, sorry, buddy."
No, you're good. Go ahead, Rico.
No, Tim York said New Jersey or Carolina when we were mentioning New Jersey for Markstrom.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to pay a goaltender $6 million a year in Carolina. They just don't seem to want to do that.
So Carolina is playing better now, and I think they might be the second best team in the East right now, the way they're playing. I mean, Florida, them, the Rangers, those are the three. Nothing against the Leafs, but I think they're there. But I mean, the Leafs are going to have to play Florida as of right now. Do you think the Leafs beat Florida? Here we go, Perlo. I got it for everybody.
Sucks about the Leafs goaltending situation is we had Mrazek, man, and look how he's playing now for Chicago. Fuck. Is it a Toronto thing or what?
I mean, they couldn't run him out of town fast enough, right? So if you guys can't read this, Stamkos gets traded at the deadline, and he CC'd me and Enrico. This is Perlo's poll. He got 17 votes, and and he's got 20 hours left, go out there and vote. Right now, 88% say no. I am one of the 12% that said yes, because if now Tampa winning tonight, if Tampa's on the outside looking in, Bruce Bois is a very aggressive GM, and he's made some moves. I like this tweet from Perlo, and I do agree. I think they could move him. And I think it would be a good move if you can get picks and assets back, because you know what? Their talent pool is kind of devoid, and they need to start rebuilding from the core now out. And their best players are still Kucherov, Point, Hedman, and Vasilevsky, and those guys ain't going anywhere anyway. So they need to. I think moving Stamkos is not a bad thing. I think sometimes when you cut bait from a player, I'll give you an example, Perlo, in kind of this regards to what this tweet is. Remember Brad Richards? Brad Richards was the Conn Smythe for the Tortorella winning 2004. When he became a UFA, he signed that big deal with Dallas, in my opinion, and then he went with the Rangers later, right? And he was never the same player he was. So I just wonder, like, sometimes it's good to cut bait, you know?
I mean,
they
Kucherov's 30. I mean, Point's only 27.
Yeah.
It's not like these guys are in their mid-30s here. I mean, they could kind of retool on the fly a bit. Get some more NHL-ready players maybe in a year or two down the road for Stamkos. I don't know who's going to give up stuff that's going to be NHL-ready players to, like.
Well, not NHL-ready, but picks and prospects that you can use later if you're out of the playoffs. I just like Brisebois has been a pretty aggressive GM. I mean, dude, who would have thought he would give 2 first-round picks up for Tanner Jeannot? I mean, probably want to try to recoup some of that draft capital. You know what I'm saying? I like Perlo's.
I think the way they looked at it is for a late first-round pick. If you added those 2 picks, if you could get as you know, you're doing pretty well. But as far as Stamkos is concerned, I think it's possible that Stamkos is kind of insulted by the money offer that they're giving him.
The lack of, they haven't offered him at all.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's no state tax in Florida either, man. And there comes a time where the organization's paid you your whole career, and I mean, you've been injured, part of it and stuff, and I can't see Stamkos going anywhere else.
So that tells me that they're waiting for Stamkos to come to them and say, "Look, I'll do it for $3 million or whatever."
No, that's not going to happen. But he can still. He's still a point-a-game guy.
That's not going to happen. I think he's got to go. Especially,
you don't think Stamkos 4 years at $5 million is what Perlo's saying there? 20 million, 4 years at $5 million, not bad.
I don't think Stamkos takes that.
You don't think he took?
But I mean, he is 33.
4 years at $5 million. That's what you want John Tavares to take after next year. That's what you want John Tavares to take. Yeah. No, I don't know, man. That's going to be very, very interesting. That's why I voted yes. I love the question, Perlo. Definitely remind me tomorrow when you retweet something out of trade, who and where they may go or whatever.
I'm going to look at that Markstrom trade tomorrow and see.
Yeah, tweet that out and put that poll. Obviously, I retweeted that, but we'll put it on the show like we did. I do want to find a better way to display it. I might just get on X on like the browser and zoom in so I can actually get your tweet on there. Okay, well, that's the show for tonight. Thank you for showing up. Appreciate everybody coming out. Short one tonight. We just are by the skin of an hour. But we'll see everybody tomorrow, Wednesday, for 3 games straight, and we'll talk about Perlo's Markstrom tweet. It'll be awesome.
And Jack Hughes is week to week. Jack Hughes is week to week. Tom Wilson's day to day, and TJ Oshie's practicing in a regular jersey right now.
Yeah, TJ Oshie is Mr. fucking Glass. The only thing he does well is make good apparel now. So he has 1 goal on the season. He could hang it up this year, and I wouldn't be sad because it's kind of pathetic to watch him go down like he's going.
It's over.
I love him, but he's done, man. He can't stay healthy. All right, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for everybody who was out to Trout. Andrew, Tim, all that. Yeah, please hit the like button and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow.
See you,
10
Tim.
p.m. Eastern.
See you,
you,
chat.
boys.
See you, Andrew.